till I become it all.
Hi again, and welcome to Einstein Mother's Story Corner. This is the place where magic journeys happen. Of course, every good story requires a story vest, and this super fine story vest was made for me by Patty Spiller. And it was made for me for a special occasion. Me and Butch were going to go to Burning Man in 2009, and this is one of the costumes that she made for us. But sadly, I opted to stay home and host the first annual Texas Fitness and Wellness Expo instead. But that's another story for another time. Okay, before we begin, everyone must learn Einstein Mother's 3 story secrets. These are the 3 secrets to unravel any riddle. Are you ready? And it might be worth taking notes. So here we go. Einstein Mother's story secret number 1. Unplug. Unplug from all distractions and be fully present. In the words of Ram Dass, be here now. Be present and be here. Okay, you ready? Einstein Mother secret number 2. Tune in. Tune in to the resonance of your beating heart. Sink in, dial in. And in the words of Ram Dass, be love now. Okay, now here it is. The third and final secret, maybe the most important, is to turn on. Turn on your curious mind and ask really good questions. And so be curious now. And now I would like to introduce you to Einstein Mother's storytelling mantra. Be here, be love, be curious now. All right, okay. Are you ready for the journey to begin? I am, so buckle up, because here we go. It was a couple of months ago when I found myself engrossed in a conversation about what else? The $50 trillion riddle. And this was a new friend that I met at Black Swan Yoga here in Houston. Her name was Jill. And I'm of course sharing my passion about solving this audacious challenge, and we're meeting along, talking along. It was right before class started, and I couldn't help but notice that Jill embodied the perfect Einstein Mother avatar. And she was intelligent. Of course, she was a mother. It helps. And most importantly, she was eager to make a difference. Little did I know that conversation, that discussion would prompt me to embark on a journey down memory lane. And it's a little painful memory lane, to be truthful. But Jill's genuine curiosity prompted me to recount the life-altering moment when I received the call. This was a call that I received from my mother on February 11th, 1994. Now look, for those of you that are taking notes, that's exactly 18 years before the day of the riddle, which happened in 2012. At that time, I had been living and working in Berlin, Germany for about 5 years. And a little segue here, a side note, it was my father who reminded me that the year I was born, the Berlin Wall went up. And 2 months after I arrived, the Berlin Wall fell down. Not that it had anything to do with me, but I just thought it was one of those interesting coincidences, of which I've encountered many on this long and fun journey. So, where was I? We're back to the call. So, it was February 11th, 1994, when my mother called and she shared with me tragic news about my father. And this is what she said. Arnie, your father is in the hospital and the doctors don't think he has long to live. If you want to see your father alive, you need to get home as soon as possible. I don't know about you, but it was a shocking revelation. I was floored. I mean, I had, at that point, I had never contemplated my father's mortality. I never thought that he would be, close to dying. And so, I'm on the phone, I'm thinking about this, and it should be noted. My father had been diagnosed with emphysema 8 years earlier. And yes, he was a smoker for about 50 years, but to be clear, it did not help that he smoked while he worked at Dow Chemical. We all know that smoke is bad for our lungs. But when you inhale superheated toxic chemicals in your lungs with the smoke, the damage to sensitive lung tissue can be exponential. And so, to my father's credit, the day that he received the diagnosis of emphysema, it was a day that he quit smoking cold turkey and never picked up a pack ever again. But sadly, the damage had already been done. And the doctors had given him little hope, really no hope, of recovery. And I'm here today to share with you all that emphysema and other chronic respiratory diseases are a horrible way to die. I got to witness firsthand, up close and personal, my father slowly suffocate to death. And over the next 4 years, my father suffered mightily. He had these cluster headaches, and just, said it was like shoving an ice pick into his ear, into his brain, or through his eye rather, into his brain, and he would just sit at the kitchen table in excruciating pain. And it all should be noted that my father's emergency visit to the hospital, it was triggered by the smoke from the 1994 Mexican wildfires. And while the smoke in Houston was bad, it was nothing compared to the air quality emergencies that we're witnessing in the Northeast caused by the Canadian wildfires today. I mean, if you haven't noticed, we're now seeing wildfire years, seasons that last for an entire year long. Fires are burning bigger, fires are burning faster, and they're burning much, much hotter. Each year, wildfires are damaging more than they did the year before. And here's the deal. Wildfires are having a great and grave impact, not just on the select few with respiratory issues, but on all of humanity. Everyone, all of us, are suffering. And the young and the old, the quality of air impacts their health even more. And as you know, I could go on for days talking about the importance of air quality and health and how it relates to our longevity. And look, it's not just the outside air quality, but more importantly, it's the quality of our indoor air. I was recently, I had a couple of days ago, in fact, I had received a phone, not a phone call, I received a phone call, but I also received a apocalyptic photo from a good friend of mine named Summer, who lives in New York City with her husband Alex and her son Corwin. And the photo that she shared with me showed the horrible conditions that they're all experiencing. And I'm sure you've seen them on the news. I mean, it's horrible. But the good news is that Summer is an Einstein mother. And so she was prepared to protect her family from the hazards of wildfire smoke. When Corwin was born, Summer purchased 3 Austin Air bedroom units to protect him, herself, and her husband from the harmful chemicals and contaminants found in their second-floor apartment there in Lower Manhattan. You can imagine, you know, busy streets, busy traffic area, the fumes from the cars. It's right there in your bedroom. But look, I digress. And now the big question is, where was I? That's right. I was about to share with you the first secret to the $50 trillion riddle. Who wants to learn the first secret? This is the first secret to the secret solution to the riddle. Okay, here it is. And it's simple. I've already given you a clue. It's air quality. Air quality is one of 5 master keys to health and longevity. Okay, so now we're back to the journey. And I think it was after I received the call from my mother, I immediately made the decision to pack up my life and return to Texas. Little did I know at the time, that decision would mark the beginning of the first of 2 journeys. This is the first journey to heal my father from chronic disease. I arrived in Houston, Texas on April 1st, 1994. And it turned out it was the best April Fool's Day I could have asked for, because the day I landed in Houston was the day my father was released from the hospital. Yay, right? I mean, here I was going to see him die, and he's being released. And so I'd like to now, kind of dive into the challenges and discoveries that we made as we pursued this journey together. The very first book I purchased to start this journey was called The Cure for All Diseases. I mean, how can you go wrong with a book title like that, right? And like most things I'm interested in, I don't jump in with both feet. I jump in head first. I devoured every protocol in the book. And here's the deal. I would learn the new protocol, I would do the new protocol, and then I would teach my father the new protocol. So I learned it, I did it, and then I taught it. I mean, that's the secret there. Learning it, doing it, and teaching it. And so really, I was a biohacker before Tim Ferriss was even born. In fact, I was a biohacker 14 years before the term was even coined. And let's be clear, Dave Asbury did not coin the term. Then again, I digress. Let me return back to the story. So along the way, my father and I discovered the ancient wisdom and the words of Hippocrates. And the 2 quotes that everybody knows that really stuck with me is, "Let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food." And the other one, "All diseases begin in the gut." Armed with these new tools, our first plan of attack was to focus on my father's diet. We both agreed that if we could eliminate the excess large belly, the beer belly that he had acquired over the years, that it would create more room for him to breathe. We could maybe get his diaphragm working again. So together we, ventured into modifying his diet, and we focused on a high fiber Mediterranean protocol, and we added a fairly intensive supplementation regimen. I mean, at some point that was all I had, right? It was diet and supplementations, macro, micro, nanonutrients. And look, while this approach had positive effect on his colon, it fell short of shrinking his belly. And it didn't really improve his breathing conditions. After a year of the diet, it was clear that nutrition alone was not going to solve the problem. It was not going to save my father's life. We can't get there through diet. And I'm here to tell you, we can't get there through diet and exercise. There's a lot more to the conversation. And so I knew I needed to go off, and I needed to acquire more tools. If I had any hope of helping my father, of healing my father, I needed more tools. It was the fall of 1994, so I met my first guide on this journey. Her name was Audrey. And Audrey inspired me. Yep, I am digging for my, this is fun. I'm digging for my deal here. Anyway, Audrey turned me on to the world of massage. And so I signed up for anatomy and physiology courses. I then went to the Winter School of Massage Therapy, and it was like, okay, this was going to be my path. I was going to do, through the power of touch, through the power of muscles. And so I'd attend school during the week, and I'd come home on the weekends, and I'd give my father a massage. And it was through massage therapy, through the laying on of my hands, that I witnessed the power of touch. My father received hours of relief from pain and suffering from a single session, a single 1-hour session. And looking back, and this is hard to admit, my only regret is that I didn't come home every day to work on him. And that's my biggest regret. I eventually moved to Houston, and I began a thriving massage therapy practice here in the Rice Village area. But my father's condition slowly deteriorated until May 15th. He was admitted into the hospital with labored breathing. And it was clear my father was on his last leg, the last leg of his journey. And my God, he had suffered so much. It was time. It was time for him to make his transition. And so we gathered the extended family together, and we all, my grandmother and uncles and aunts all showed up to bid him farewell and Godspeed. And so we'd been, hanging out for several days, and on May 20th, 1998, my father sent everybody home. You guys go home so I can get some rest. And then the next morning, the attending nurse said, when she entered the room to check on him, that my father opened his eyes. He smiled, and then he closed them for the very last time. And in a moment, and in the twinkling of an eye, my father was gone. And he was gone, but be assured, he will never be forgotten. And look, this concludes the tragic ending of the hero's first journey. But a seed was planted for a second journey. And on 9/11/1999, it showed the first signs of life. But that's another story for another day. And until next time, remember, always dare greatly to solve humanity's most audacious challenges. Get into the arena. And don't forget, be here, be love, and be curious. Now, never stop. Never stop being playful. Also, please like, subscribe, and share this episode with everybody you know. If there's any hope of Einstein mothers getting onto the map, you've got to make comments. You've got to like and subscribe. And if you haven't done so yet, please sign up for Einstein Mothers Countdown Party to the Audacious Challenge. It's this Saturday, June 17th at 8:35 p.m. Central Standard Time. So what are you waiting for? Don't let time pass you by. Until next time, stay inspired, stay healthy, and keep aspiring for a world of healthy and happy children. It's our only and last best hope for all of humanity. With that, be well, and I'll see you again soon.